Hello, everyone. I just wanted to bring a brief devotional message to you this week. And today I'm going to be reading from Galatians chapter 5, verses 13 through 15. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters. But don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. For the whole law can be summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. But if you are always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another. Again, Galatians 5:13 through 15. We have just come from the 4th of July weekend here in the United States, where, as you know, that's a celebration of us gaining our independence from the tyranny of England. Freedom does not mean we have the right to do whatever we want, whenever we want. Instead, freedom carries responsibilities with it. And especially as a follower of Jesus Christ, we are called to behave by a much higher standard. Even though we may have a right to do something or a right not to do something, whether that's a legal right or spiritual right or theological grounds to do or to not do something, if how we choose to behave will harm another person, we should not do that. That's using our freedom to serve others. The purpose of freedom is to serve one another and not to serve self. But right now we are living in such a polarized time. We are divided by everything, it seems. There's division along the political lines. There's division along racial lines. There's even division over how we believe we ought to respond to the COVID virus. And it's very easy in this day and age in which we live to react emotionally to those that we believe are opposed to us, to those who are on the other side of the line, so to speak, whether it's the political line, the racial line, or the response to the COVID pandemic. And it's very easy for us to react emotionally and to end up biting and to devour one another, as verse 15 states, something that we need to watch out in doing. I want to challenge us to be intentionally mindful and to not react to what we hear coming from other people. So I just want to challenge us to be intentionally mindful that we won't react. Not to react because we have the freedom to react, we have the freedom to do that, but I always want to challenge us to instead to put the good of the other person first. And so that may mean refraining from responding at all, especially on social media. I don't think responding and reacting to anyone on social media changes anyone's minds. I don't know that it does any good. Sometimes it's good for other people to know where we stand on things, but it's not really a platform for changing people's hearts and minds. So to be intentionally mindful and to not react, that means to not respond. It may mean to listen, to simply be willing to listen to what the other person has to say instead of thinking that we are totally right. It means having the possibility that we may be wrong. And it means engaging the other person. To refrain from responding with emotion means I'm willing to engage the other person in person, to not just be talking to or over them, but to be talking and listening with them. So again, just wanted to leave you with these words from Galatians 5. For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love, whether it's someone that's on the other side of the political aisle from you, someone that's on the other side of the racial line from you, someone who sees a different perspective on how we ought to respond to COVID or not. We need to use our freedom to serve one another in love. The whole law is summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. But if you're always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another. And that biting and devouring does not necessarily have to take place in person, but it can take place virtually. So again, let us be mindful and make a decision that we will not respond emotionally, but instead that we will refrain, we will listen, and we will attempt to engage the other person in person.